The crypto market is gearing up to make some major moves as we round out Q1 of 2022. There's a couple of brand new reports that came out that really give us some insight as to what's going on behind the scenes with institutions and what we should be doing with our money right now. We're going to look at historical trends, we're going to look at some technical analysis, but also a very important report as to what is going on right now with institutional investors. And I think you're really going to enjoy this one, so make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and also make sure to follow me on Twitter because I'm posting there every single day about most up-to-date information in the market. So right now, the overall market is trading in between a couple of key levels still. We've been talking about this over the last couple of weeks, but Bitcoin's price right now is trading in between this $36,000 and $38,500 per coin range. We've been oscillating right in between this range for a while, and we've been rejected a couple of times. A couple days ago, we were rejected right at $38,500, right around the Federal Reserve meeting, only to come back down and test this $36,000 per coin level. In order for us to be bullish in the short term about where crypto is going and, say maybe we want to double down on a short-term swing trade, I would say we need to break above $38,500 per coin. If we break above this, then we are going to start to continue our rally higher, and then I would expect a bounce starting to push towards new record highs. So this is on the 4-hour charts. Important thing with the overall market, though, is that January of 2022 is on track to be the worst January since January of 2018. But the important thing here is when we look at the data right now, every single February since the inception of Bitcoin has almost been green. If we look at every single February since the inception of Bitcoin, we could see that only 2 Februaries in 2 years have the month been red. So that was in 2020 and in 2014. But every single time that we had a red January, we finished down significantly, we have always had a February in the green. So if we're looking at what is going on in the market right now based on historical data, I would say February is definitely going to be a good month for Bitcoin, because what we're seeing is that every single time we had a red January, it was followed by a green February. So the month always ended better in February. On top of this, though, we're also seeing a couple of big things going on with the overall market. The first is that data from Glassnode reveals that the number of coins that last moved between 5 and 7 years ago has reached an all-time high. And what this means is that people are holding their Bitcoin longer and longer, and supply is getting more and more illiquid, meaning it's not available on exchanges. People are moving into cold storage. People are becoming long-term holders more and more every single day. Not only this, though, but we're also seeing Bitcoin exchange reserves continue to decrease. So not only are people holding Bitcoin longer, but they're moving it off of exchanges. People who have, whale accounts are doubling down. Everything right now in terms of overall fundamentals and health of the market looks great. So yes, we have seen a correction take place, but things are looking really good right now for the overall market in terms of fundamentals, in terms of historical data, and the trading ranges in terms of TA, which we have been over the last couple of days. Before we get into the new report, I want to quickly go over 2 things. The first is going to be El Salvador's president, what he recently said about Bitcoin. So he recently came out and says that he's predicting a gigantic price increase for Bitcoin. He said this on Twitter on January 31st, 2022. He says there are more than 50 million millionaires in the world. Imagine when each one of them decides they should own at least 1 Bitcoin, but there will ever only be 21 million Bitcoin in existence. Not enough for even half of them. A gigantic price increase is just a matter of time. So basically what he's saying is if every single millionaire in the world owned 1 Bitcoin, they can't, because there's only 21 million Bitcoin in circulation, only 21 million Bitcoin that are ever going to be mined. So the problem here is that at some point in the future, as we continue to see Bitcoin's price rise, as we continue to see more mass adoption, the value is only going to increase because there's such a limited supply. And if people are looking at it as like a hedge against inflation, or, a asset that is uncorrelated to the stock market, even though it has been as of lately, if people are looking for different exposure, well, Bitcoin's going to be where they turn to, and there is such a limited supply that it's going to only continue to drive the price higher. And when we think about it, there's a lot of people who own more than 1 Bitcoin, like institutions. Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy own over 100,000 Bitcoin. We see that Binance owns over 100,000 Bitcoin. And there's a lot of companies that are doing this. So he's predicting a massive price increase, very soon. If not this year, next year, it's only going to continue to appreciate over time. So now I want to quickly go over what's going on with this CoinShares Digital Assets Funds report, because a couple of interesting things have happened. The first is that digital asset investment products saw inflows for a second week in a row, just about $19 million. So nothing too high, nothing too crazy. But what this shows us is that right now investors are beginning to add to positions cautiously at these lower prices. We're seeing after 5 weeks of outflows, the last 2 weeks have had inflows. So people are starting to put money back into investment products. But the interesting thing here is that for the second week in a row, we're seeing significant outflows for Ethereum. Ethereum had $26.8 million of outflows, and Bitcoin, dominated. But the interesting thing here is that this has been a trend we've seen happen over the last couple of months, where institutions have started to reallocate some of their holdings from Ethereum into other layer 1 cryptos. Like we've talked a lot about on the channel, how like Polygon, which is layer 2, but a lot of people have been looking at Polygon and other layer 1s like Cardano, Solana, Cadena, Polkadot. All of these have been other attractive layer 1 cryptos for institutions as well. And what the data shows us is that while we are seeing people and investors slowly allocate more funds back into the market, back into crypto, they're not just going into Ethereum or Solana or Polkadot or Cardano. Right now, because we're a little bit uneasy, there's still a lot of fear in the market, what institutions are doing is they're buying Bitcoin and multi-asset investment products. What these are is just a combination of coins, really helps to diversify your portfolio, limit your downside. But either way, the good news is even though we saw outflows from Ethereum, we saw outflows from some other layer 1 cryptos, the good news right now is that this is the second week in a row that we have seen inflows into the market. We're seeing that while they may not be going heavy on higher risk coins, they are buying Bitcoin and multi-asset investment products, so diversifying their portfolio. And last thing right now at the market is that historically, February is a green month. And if we look at what has happened in the past, every single time we have had a red January, February has ended up in the green every single time. So just keep that in mind looking into the next couple of months. I'm expecting some pretty big moves, especially as we continue to see more mass adoption take place. But that's what's going on with the market today. Let me know your thoughts, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. See you guys.